Okay, so we're gonna get to the last roll of the day, and we're doing movement really here. He's gonna come in and wrap around. I'm gonna control his head because this will allow me to shoot for a triangle, but here I don't get that, so I go for basically a shin staple pass almost. We go shin to shin, and then it'll allow me to swap my hips to the other side, and I clear all the lines, and then you see how I press his hips to the other side, and then come into the mount. He does a really good job here of getting the frames in so I don't make real chest-to-chest contact, but without making real chest-to-chest contact, if I can control that head and change the angle, it makes a lot of the hip rotation harder. And also, obviously uncomfortable, and you can have like the smother effect and such, but he does a really good job of trying to push my leg down initially, so that's what caused me to move and shift that position, and then he does it again, and he gets a quarter guard at first, and then he gets into the half guard. But while he's doing that, I'm sneaking an underhook because I can feel it, and then I staple his hip to the ground. You'll see that my hips are a little offline. That's because I'm trying to force his leg and hip to the ground. You'll see he's a little twisted. He's gonna get more straight here in a second, and it's gonna make it easier for him to escape because his body's under torsion right now. It's gonna make movement hard, but now that he's straighter, he's able to do like leg presses, hip switching. There's no real staple for him anymore. Now we're just basically chest to chest contact and half guard, which, powerful, but obviously if you do nothing with it, it doesn't provide you with any benefit. So here he starts to come up. I don't like when people come up typically, not like that. So I put a little bit of pressure down on him, and here he kind of brings me back in, tries to go for a triangle, and I use a shoulder shrug pass, or whatever you call that. And here I'm pinning his hips. I'll lift up and then I'll pin them to the other side, and this will make going to mount really easy. But you'll see my arm is across my body, so I pull it through again. I'm trying to see if that method works really well. I've not spent a whole lot of time experimenting with it yet. So we're all in the learning stages. I got a lot of learning to do. So I'm experimenting a little bit with what's possible and what's possible where. He's really good at, catching them leggies. And you see he's pressing on my knee, trying to get that guard retention back. And you'll see he'll get over my leg. And then from here, I swap instead of going from underhook, I control the head. And when you control the head, people don't tend to try to drive into you anymore. They try to push away from you. And to me, this is like best case scenario, because it does, like, I don't have to fight the guard, and we come into like north-south position if I want, or like any of those variations. So I find it typically better, but I end up in his guard again. And here you're going to see I am being silly, and I use a double armpit hold. Can this hold someone? Absolutely. Should you do it? No, especially when you're like working body lock passing, because you'll see here when I go later, I'm bringing my arms underneath him, and then I'll start to move my head a little bit, and this will allow him to be able to choke me, because I can't really get rid of his legs off of me by just holding his body. So here I'm just going to pin the leg down and start to go, but he gets a good hip control, a good sweep. So he was going to get that top position. But you'll see here I keep my leg on the top of his back, which every time he moves higher, that means he lifts up my hips higher. So until he can control my hips to the ground, he can't really solidify the position. Again, I step in and I grab the head, because this will allow me the spin motion like that. But it does not work, because I end up right in guard. You do things like that to avoid going in people's guard, so obviously it needs work. Here he starts to set up for an armbar / triangle. He's not going to get that one, because I grab my leg and pinch it in almost like a figure 4. So I stop the motion of his leg, and I also prevent him from having hip rotation, because I pull him one way, and also opens up like foot attacks and stuff like that. And then right here, you'll see I put my knee onto his chest. Anytime someone does like a triangle or omoplata or anything like that, put your knee on their stomach, and they will have a very hard time to finish that, let alone move you anywhere from there. It pushes on their diaphragm, controls their hips, so they can't really extend and all that kind of stuff. So give it a try. I think it's one of the easiest ways to get out of omoplatas and triangles. Obviously, you should just make yourself really big. Here he makes a joke about being a power top, so I play around and we said, okay. Here he actually gets a really good arm extension. He could have probably given me a run for my money with that arm bar right there. He was being nice. Like, again, we're doing motion, so if he wanted to tap me out on that one, I bet he could have. Same thing with here. He has me locked up pretty decent. Obviously, you see I have a lot of space here, but he's very knowledgeable. If he wanted to break that down, he can. And you see he shows it right here. He said, move that arm. And I said, fine, I'll move it a little bit. So he does it again, because this is what you would do, is try to break the thing. So I said, nope, because if you grab that leg, it really shuts that attack down. It makes it to where you have something stable to grab onto. It's hard to remove me from a post when that post is yourself. You're not gonna choke me like that. So here we're back in like a quarter guard / half guard in a minute, I believe, because he's really good with using his elbows and knee line. Yep. So you're gonna see he's gonna take that quarter guard into a half guard, I believe. But I don't really care as long as I can maintain chest contact with someone, and you can see his face is like into my chest. But because we changed the line, it changes the angle, and you'll see he has less defense there to stop the knee on belly to slide into mount, because I'm controlling his ankle, and his ankle controls his knee, aka his hips. So he can swap his hips over, but he doesn't have any frame to basically place in my way to stop me from getting into mount. So here, you can't really see it very well, but we're talking about when people wrap up around you. People are silly, and they do this a lot, and they think that this helps them. They squeeze, basically, trying to hold on to you, stop you from punching them. This would be a bad tactic against someone in jiu-jitsu, because they can just roll to one side and do it that way, or they can do a double punch choke. There's a bunch of stuff. Kind of like how you would do an arm triangle choke, how you can put your feet on someone's hips and just drive forward. That double punch choke is something similar. So we were just talking about that right there. So instead of holding that mount position, because it's getting wiry, I basically just swapped knee on belly, choosing a side. Knee on belly is a very mobile position, and it's very easy to get caught into that like half guard position. Maybe that's my problem. I like to swap from mount to side control pretty consistently, I guess. I don't know if that's a good idea. I know that mount is typically the more superior position, but I find that side control offers a lot of motion. Here he's trying to defend really well and do some arms, but he gives me a gift wrap, and he keeps the quarter guard or / half guard, and this is literally going to give me the back take. So I don't even bother trying to go to a traditional back take. I go to a T, almost like an arm bar, but I don't go into the arm bar setup. It's not so of a risky position, and then I go into a traditional back take, so to speak. I don't really like going straight into a T, because it's not like super solidified. However, T's are typically better in jiu-jitsu than straight lines. So if you are straight line with your opponent, unless you are the one controlling that position, I would not recommend it. So anytime that you're in guard, you're in a straight line. If you can cause it to go into a T shape, aka trunk or anything like that, you're winning then. Arm bars are T's. Crucifix position, T's. And this sounds silly, but I'm telling you, T's. Make your T's. I put my leg up this time because I prevent him from being able to press on my knee and do the typical leg trap he's been doing for mount. And because he's going to continue to try to do that, it's going to feed into a triangle setup. Because when he goes to press on my leg, it makes it easy to slide off because it's under tension. So I slide over it, and then here you're going to see me set up into a triangle position because of that tension. You see how his arm is already now past my leg. And you see how my other knee is basically trapping that shoulder. The closer my knees are to his shoulders, the harder it's going to be for him to do rotational motion with them. So you know how you generate power with your hips is through rotation. So the same thing with your shoulders. And here I'm gonna finish this triangle with not pulling the leg over. That was actually going to be a setup so I could move my legs into. However, that was like the end of our roll, kind of. And you don't always need it. And I think we kind of got stuck in that spot because I didn't move soon enough. So, and it was the end of the day. He said, "That's good. No more." All right. Have a good one, guys.